Yo!
Sorry, I get excited. I had a whole bunch of hand claps for you. What's up, big bro?
Love you, man. How you doing?
I love you too. I'm great, man. We were just talking about with some of the people in the chat. Jessica and I did the Chris Spencer and Vanessa Spencer date night IG show.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting really popular, but it was super fun, man. We were on it for like an hour and a half, just sharing. You know what I'm saying? almost 21 years of marriage. You know,
That
people
is
be
a
want to
big
know the
accomplishment.
secrets. They want to know the secrets,
They're
Mr.
doing.
John.
I'm ready. I need to know the secrets too.
Well, listen. Before we get started, you don't often get the credit you deserve in the lifestyle arena. I want to tell the followers of TKBS and TKBS Nation, this man right here, not only was he a pioneer in fashion, we're going to get to that, but I remember going to Daymond John's office, and I want to say it was bi-level. May not have been, but it seemed like it was bi-level some kind of way. It was dark and moody. It had I don't know. It was fabulous on another level. And I hadn't seen, and mind you, I done worked with the greats. I had never seen an office like Daymond John's. So I want to shout you out, brother, because that thing you had over there at FUBU was next level.
Man,
Cheers.
you know what? God is good. My mother used to always tell me, because I lived in Queens, and I grew up in Queens, and she used to always say, you need to either be faster than the Concorde or faster than the lights or brighter than the lights on the Empire State Building, because we could see the Empire State Building from Queens, playing stickball in Queens. The
Right.
Concorde landed twice at JFK, and we live in Queens. We live right next to JFK, in between JFK and LaGuardia. So during the winter months when it got dark right around 5:30, the Concorde always
Yeah.
landed around 5:35 or something like that. So when all the kids were on the block, you heard the Concorde rumbling. All of a sudden, you see everybody's stickballs drop, every baseball mitt drop, because your ass better be home. So
That's
you had to
right.
be faster than the Concorde. But during the summer months, when the Concorde wasn't landing that time, it landed earlier, around 8:30, the lights on the Empire State Building will come on, and you better be home. Just like before the street lights come on, you better be home before the lights
Right.
on that come on. Fast forward 30 years, it took me 30 years to go 30 miles, and then I had the entire 66th floor and the entire 65th floor of the Empire State Building. Right, and
Yeah.
that was like such a big accomplishment. And that's the office you were talking about. We're the most recognized building in the world that I got the ability to admire all my life and say I'm going to get to that building one day.
Yeah. And people are going to see how connected your spiritual journey has been as we go through some of these fun facts on you, because a lot of history came through and around FUBU. And I want to take it back to Queens, man. You grew up in Hollis, Queens. If you do not know the pioneers of hip hop, Run DMC are from Hollis, Queens, you're nutty. But also LL Cool J, also many others. What was it like for young Daymond John growing up in all of that black excellence?
Yeah, so listen, Onyx were my barbers. Mr. Cheeks and I used to hang out, and then you got Q-Tip from there. You got Salt and Pepper, Run DMC, Young MC, Dr. Dre, and Ed Lover. Obviously, like we said, and Show Me Other, Ja Rule and 50 Cent, and they're all from the same area. We're all from the same area. And growing up like that in Hollis, Queens was amazing. But, when I was growing up, we looked to admire the first people that we ever saw with money, and we never saw people that looked like us on TV with money, because there was a black entrepreneur on TV at the time, but it didn't look like Sanford, Fred G. Sanford, the junk man, was doing that well, right? So what
Right.
you tried to admire the hustlers, because you saw them with the fat chains, walking into the club with riding to the top, playing the football helmet. I mean the motorcycle, driving the baby Benzes or the 190s, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, or the 98s, you know what I mean, or the
Yeah.
Sterlings, right?
Yeah.
And you wanted to be one of them. And then a lot of my friends started dying, due to that was the highest their goals were. And the movie Belly, Hype Williams is from obviously my area. Me, Hype, and Irv all grew up together. From 12
Wow.
years old, we were on tour. And Hype would make the movie Belly about a lot of my friends, because I wasn't part of it, but a lot of them were taking part of that life. But then all of a sudden you started to see, LL and Run DMC and all them. And because we were all kids, we would go on tours and roadies. We'd show up when they're in Troy, New York. We could never go to a concert that was in New York City, because then the real people were there and they would be like, get the
Right.
hell out of here. So
Right.
we'd have to find Troy, New York, or West Virginia, and we would drive in our cars down there and get there, and we would start to see that these people were influencing an entire new culture, and they didn't have to look over their back. They didn't have to sell drugs. They didn't have to think about hustling, and they were making money and having fun. And of course, being a young dude, they were getting the chicks.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta find a way to get into that business. And I couldn't. I could break dance a little bit, and I remember I got an offer to go on tour with Houdini as a popper.
Oh, really? You were a
And
pop locker?
I was a pop locker, and my mother said, "You ain't going on no goddamn tour." I think it was a Fresh Fest tour, or whatever the case is, under Houdini. They said, "You ain't going on no damn tour with no Houdini. You 14 years old, 16 years old."
Right.
And some kid named Jermaine Dupri took my place on that tour.
Wow.
I wouldn't find that out until years ago that I guess he took it or somebody else. Doesn't matter. I'm saying it's him because he's the man. But I would
And that's
find
that
out,
video where they have a young Jerry Curl, Jermaine
yeah,
Dupri in
yeah,
a joint
yeah.
like
I'd find out like 10 years later. I'd be like, yo, that dude took my spot.
wow.
But you know, life is crazy how it goes around. You know.
That's crazy. But you know, I think about you as a young man. Like, even though you had that, you still had the work ethic, and you would pass out flyers. You worked at Red's
Yeah.
Lobster. I mean, you have the famous story about working at Red Lobster and simultaneously. But
Yeah.
even in high school, there was a program. I never heard of no shit like this, but there was a program where you could work full time and do alternating weeks at school. Please, I never heard of that.
Yeah, so I'm dyslexic, and you know, school was challenging. I got left back in 7th grade. I knew my math and I knew my science and I knew numbers, but there was a program called co-op. You can go to school 1 week, the high school, and then you can go and work in the city for different people who are letting people in their co-op program. It's kind of like a form of internship today for kids in college.
I got it.
So I went into the co-op program, and I was a messenger for a company called First Boston. And now, being in my business, they are a venture capitalist. They were a venture capitalist business. So I was a foot messenger, and I would just go around to all the businesses. I'd be the dude in the elevator with the loud headphones, looking at the secretaries and be like, "Yo, mom, you know what I'm saying? What's up, baby boy?" You know what I mean? With the loud head, the annoying dude with the package, and all the women be like, "Yo, can you get away from me, man?" You know?
Right.
But I was seeing the city, and I was getting to see people, and I was seeing people of different walks of life, and sometimes I'd go up to the executive boardroom, the executive cafeteria, because it would be a Friday. I got my check. I can afford a $4 cheeseburger.
Right.
I'm gonna go ball out. And I'd be up there, and I'd see some of the wealthiest guys complaining about how many homes they have, or complaining about what yacht they couldn't get. And then sometimes I'd be down in the messenger center where all of us stood, and there was a bunch of mixed cultures. And every time you had a package that was longer than 10 blocks long, you got $2 because $1 for the train there, $1 for the train back.
Oh.
But a lot of us took the walk instead, kept the pocket of the money.
Yeah.
And I remember there was an old guy. He was Spanish, and every Friday he would compile his money, so he would make an extra $30 a week. And on Friday he'd buy $5 worth of hot dogs and juice, and he'd be like, "Today I eat like a king." He would always say that, right? And I started to, and he said that he was building a house in Dominican Republic. He was going home with his family, and he never complained about shit. And he ate like a king. And he enjoyed his life on Friday. Meanwhile, the dude's upstairs talking about, I can't get 100-foot yacht because the market is down today. And I think I just learned to value so many different aspects of what we do and living, and what you should appreciate.
You know what's crazy? You know, I didn't realize those things early. You know, I didn't notice the nuances about, you know, how people were, like you spoke with the Spanish gentleman, or how, you know, I mean, I would hear things, but I wouldn't process them and adapt and put them into my mix at that early age. So for you to be able to do that explains why when you get to Red Lobster and you're working at Red Lobster, you're also simultaneously cutting and sewing FUBU and selling them on the corner in Hollis, Queens. Like, what was getting this kind of information from those kind of runs? Was that the setup for the beginning of FUBU?
I gotta give it up to who I call the ultimate entrepreneurs, a black single mother. You know, the ultimate entrepreneur is a black single mother, straight up. right?
Come
And
on. Come
come
on.
on, right? Come on. And my mom, she would listen. Our mothers, they were on social media way before us because they would be simply like they had Uber, they had FaceTime, they had all that. Cause you know what they do? They yell out the window, and they got Venmo too. Hey Sally, give Daymond $1. Then Daymond go down to the store and go get some bread, and then come over here and babysit. And that was what they did. They just shot out the window and did that. And my mother sent me to a different city every single year. And my
Wow.
mother had no money, and this opened up my mind for all those who were she didn't want me in the street. She saw Supreme Team growing. She knew that my idle time was very dangerous, and she wanted me to see other things. So I would live in Canada for one summer. I lived in Hawaii for another. I lived in this and that. And somebody may go, Canada, Hawaii, but here's how mom did it. Here's how poor, broke black mother who sometimes couldn't have heat or electricity did it. She would find her friend who happened to live on a Navy base because she fought for our country, and she would say,
Right.
you send your son over to me. I'm a barter, send my son over to you. And she would buy me a 17 connecting flight ticket 3 years earlier for $50. I'd leave in June, I'd get there in September. And
Word.
she'd work that shit out, you know? And so I
You
was
know,
opening up my mind.
I think that that is the glue with all most successful black men. Their mothers, man. You know, the way that they loved us in that era, the things they weren't taught but ended up teaching us, the way that they would move. My mom was the same. She called me her hot dog and bean baby. She would literally, I'd go to school, we'd be in one apartment, I'd come home, we'd be moving to Detroit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're moving to San Mateo, California. We're moving.
Yeah, I had to figure it out.
Yeah, and they did. And I tell people all the time, my mom is the one who taught me how to live life for a living, because she lived her best life on that no budget, you know what I'm saying, job she had, you know what I'm saying, and kept getting, but she made a way, man. And salute to all black women. You know how I feel about them. So
You know what? I'm gonna tell you something that my mother did that's kind of screwed up. You know, when crack started hitting the neighborhood, she said to me, let me tell you something, man. I know you want to try it because you're probably gonna want to try it. And you know what? If you want to try it, I'm gonna go get some crack and I'm gonna bring it home and we're gonna try it together.
oh shit.
Now, of course, immediately I'm like, I don't want to see my mother be a crackhead. Like, she fucked up my whole crack experience. I could be a crackhead right now if it wasn't for my mother. Like, who's gonna try to be a crackhead after that?
Hey dog, I promised to God it wasn't crack, but I smoked my first joint with my mother. I had my first 40 with my mother. She thought that was gonna go left. I started drinking and smoking like a motherfucker. But that's crazy, bro. That's wild. Big shout out to your moms, because that scared your motherfucking ass straight.
I was like, yo, man, my mom will be a crackhead. My people's gonna be trying to, give her a nickel, you know what I'm saying, to go in the back of a car, you know what I'm saying? What kind of shit is that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So FUBU is starting to gain traction, man. You guys are loaning out jerseys. They're appearing in videos. Like, what was the beginning like? You know, you had this vision. You brought in your team. The thing starts clicking. But you're not there. You were really struggling to make that happen. What was that beginning like?
The first beginning, honestly, was that when I started making, cutting the patterns and selling them on the corner and stuff like that, actually a lot of my friends stopped talking to me. They thought I was gay, which I have no issue with anybody's sexuality. But at that time, in 89, 88, all we thought of designers were white flamboyant people from Italy and France, right? And they were like, yo, I wasn't on the same level. They were like, yo, we going to club. I'm like, yo, I just got this new pattern with strawberries on it, son. I mean, you got to see what I'm going to make with this shirt. And they was like, oh, yo, all right, homie. And
strawberries.
So, yeah. So they really started distancing something from me. But then I found my other boys who didn't distance themselves from me, Keith, Carl, and Jay. And they were like, I'll fucks with you. Let's rock. And they realized that if we go down to a video set, when they kick everybody else off who's hanging out, I'd be like, yo, man, I'm the one dressing the artist. I got the same raggedy ass shirt, but at least I didn't get kicked off the set. Now I got to holler at the video girls, and now I got to watch some of the greatest artists that I grew up with perform, Brand Nubian and Craig Mack and all these kinds of stuff like that. And I was eating the free food that they had on the set. I was living. I was good to go.
Yeah.
And then when it started to grow, I felt that I didn't have any. I didn't even knew that it would be that big, and I thought that maybe my partners and I would get a maybe a little boutique. But there was that energy, and you felt it behind it. And then I started getting people behind it, and it was so frustrating at one point because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I wish I could tell people, the old theory of, you gotta crush people in business. But you know what? I was in Vegas, spent all my money to get out there. I had $27 to my name, me, Carl, and Keith. And I was sitting in the Mirage
Dang.
Hotel, and I didn't have enough money to get into the magic show. And Carl and I
Damn.
walked by me. Carl and I walked by me and said, "Yo, you that dude in the little food way? I like that food. So come to my booth, and I'm gonna hook you up with every single buyer that I can hook you up with." Like, he
Wow.
helped put me in the game. Like, absolutely. You know
Yo,
what I mean?
and I
So
want to say this to the 24-year-olds. Karkanai was the biggest thing until Fubu. Like, he was Cross Colors, Karkanai. They were the biggest thing before Fubu. And for him to do that, salute that black man. Salute that black
absolutely.
man.
Absolutely.
Word
And
up.
so I don't think we get enough credit for helping each other. Russell also had helped me in the past. And, Spike Lee had did stuff like that in the past. And I don't think we get enough. We only hear about how cats is going against each other. So it started to bubble, and people were just getting behind me. But the most unsung hero out there in New York that got behind me was a guy named Ralph McDaniels, who had a video show
Video
that was
music juice box.
video music box, right? Who has put on most of the major artists that we see today out of the rap community. Needed Ralph's help, you know what I mean? And he's still a local hero, and he put me on, started highlighting me. And when he co-signed on me, it was over.
Over.
Everybody just started getting my stuff, and then I had to figure out, all right, now how do I make this a business? And I went ahead and took out an ad in the New York Times, and it said something like $1 million in orders need financing, and 33 people called.
Wait. I didn't know that. You went
Yeah.
and put an ad out saying that you
Well,
needed help?
Well, what happened? I had $300,000 in orders. I took a loan on my house. I burned all the furniture on the bottom level of my house, or sold it, and then I moved sewing machines in there. We slept in sleeping bags next to the sewing machines. I rented out the rooms in my house, the 3 rooms I had, for $25 a piece. I worked at Red Lobster about 12 hours a day, worked on Fubu about 6 hours a day, and slept a very little piece of time. And I did that for about 4 or 5 years. And my partners were working with me and things of that nature. And then we started to run out of money because I didn't know how money worked. I didn't have financial intelligence. I was paying for raw goods 90 days ahead of time, paying for a staff, and the stores wouldn't pay me for 30, 60, or 90 days.
Wow.
But because I kept my job at Red Lobster, that was what paid the bills, and I was renting out my house to strangers, the rooms, and I was sleeping in sleeping bags downstairs next to the machines. But because we did that for that period of time, and then we started running out of capital, my mother said, take an ad in the paper, today's version of crowdfunding or whatever the case is. And I took an ad in the paper and said, $1 million in orders, need financing. I only had $300,000 in orders. 33 people called, 30 of them were loan sharks, but 3 of them were real. And then we would end up doing a manufacturing distribution deal with Bruce and Norman Weisfeld from a company called Samsung Textile Division. And then it was off to the races. Now I had
you've been in business with them since.
Yeah, I don't have any partners that I'm not in business with that I didn't start with.
Wow.
And plus, everybody else, Tud and all the other guys that I have from my hood. I mean, I probably, from high school and junior high and Red Lobster, I probably have hired 40 people out of the neighborhood since then. And they've gone on to, a lot of times, they don't necessarily work with me. They've gone on to run their own companies or do other stuff like that. But thank God, that's what it
bro,
is.
That's not normal. That's not normal. You are anointed. But in the beginning, when all this is happening, did you realize that for us, by us, was the real underlining, spiritual light that was guiding this like that? I don't think at that time, people were as conscious outwardly with their offering in business, right? Like you had conscious records, you had things of that nature, but you were like the first brand that says, yo, we're black. We're making clothes for black people, for hip hop. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it was a hashtag. To me, it's the first hashtag, but I'll be very honest. I made it for the people who loved hip hop, because I dressed the Beastie Boys as well. I didn't care. You had to be just cool and hip to me. But I always did explain to people. People say, yo, this is for black people, by black people. I said, no, this was created by a black culture that needs to be shared with everybody, so everybody understands our plights and our beauty and our love. And when I first took an ad in the Right On magazine, actually the first places that bought it were the white kids in Seattle, Washington, that loved grunge and Nirvana, who were wanted to fight the system, and also the Japanese kids in Japan who literally wore blackface because they were trying to emulate people of color, and they would break dance and wear New York Knicks jerseys and stuff like that. When I started getting when the hip hop community really embraced me was when Ralph McDaniels put it out there. But I would never realize, I never thought about it, because I wish I could tell you something big and calculated. It was just a feeling I had. And me and the boys were in the basement. We came up with that name. And actually, when I went over to Samsung Textile Division, I said, like all designers and stuff, you're creative. And I was like, I want to change the name. They were like, why would you change the name? What's a FUBU? FUBU could be Italian. It could be Japanese. It could be Chinese. It could be American. He said, it's such an abstract name, like Google or Facebook or Uber or whatever, that we also can lock it up and we won't have any competition with it, because it's not a very common name. And I learned my lesson that day, and that was obvious from other people who've been in the business, who now I share that lesson with others. Have a name that, nobody can lock up like that.
Right. Well, I think things we do in life sometime are blessed in a certain way. Maybe not to our knowing, maybe not, at the time we think it's supposed to be or what it's supposed to be. But I truly believe, because when I found out personally what it meant, like, one of the hashtags, as you said, I was just like, whoa, like, this is such a powerful, because I think 93, I saw LL Cool J in a Gap commercial, and he literally said for us, by us, in a rap for Gap. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. It felt so endearing and so powerful. And, and when I saw that, it bugged me the fuck out.
No, absolutely. I mean, that was one of the biggest advertising coups, besides if you look at maybe the Starbucks cup and that other thing. But, Gap had no idea, when L did the rhyme, he did acapella rhyme, he put For Us, By Us on the low in the Gap ad. And crazy. And when that thing was airing for like 3 weeks, I was like, they still don't get it. Then they pulled it, but then they did their analytics on it and found out that, it increased the target market they were trying to hit by 300%, because the kids thought they can get food with the Gap. So then they re-aired it. And absolutely crazy. Amazing.
Yeah, man, because when that happened, I felt like you guys were out of here. Like, I just felt like you kept seeing it because of the tenacity, and the work ethic you guys had getting into these videos. A lot of people don't know, you were giving them jerseys, taking the jerseys off of them, taking them to the next set. And a lot of times, that's the type of work that it takes when you can't go mass produce and do X, Y, and Z. You guys were doing that, and for the people to keep doing it and support it, because you know how artists can be.
So I want to bring a point up. Like, I remember, I forgot who was on JD's level. Was it on JD's level? Was it 112? And who's the other?
No, JD was Jagged Edge.
Jagged Edge.
Yeah.
We go to a video.
I'm the fifth member of Jagged Edge, so be careful.
So let me tell you something. Keith went to a Jagged Edge set, and we had samples that had big ass holes in the back. I mean, because we needed whatever the case, I think, like, when you get it over here from certain countries, to know that you're not gonna sell it again, so you don't have to pay taxes on it.
Right.
It's a sample. You got a big ass hole in the back. And Jagged Edge, they so much family that they was like this. Yo, they were taking a photo shoot or something. They were like, yo, Keith, give me that shirt, man. Got a big ass hole in there. All right, everybody, stand this certain way so they don't see the hole in the back. Wow. I mean, that's how much they supported us and fucked with us. And we would just be like, yo, I mean, the artists and the people, the real people in the industry, I mean, they were just like Fat Joe, like Jagged Edge. There's some cats out there. The industry gets funny, but we'll all owe to those cats to remember how they were just like, yo, this is my shining day. I'm about to shoot my video. I'm about to be a star, but I got you too.
Yeah. Give me top 3 artists, top 5 artists, if you have to, that were the biggest supporters of FUBU and helped you guys on your rise.
The group, the entire crew of Cash Money Click, Slim and Baby and all them, they were like, they really shot this thing out of here in a whole nother way. Of course, LL Cool J. Man, everybody was wearing this shit, man. Like, I don't even want to say it, because I'm gonna leave somebody out.
Yeah, no
You know what I
facts.
mean? Yeah.
What's your most memorable time? I mean, FUBU literally one of the longest runs in clothing. I mean, you guys did business way longer than, I mean, when I'm saying runs, I'm saying hot as fish grease. Everybody had that. What was the most memorable times during that run?
I think it was. I think I would say one of my most memorable times. Well, we had the fun times. We had the Cancun time, of course, and all the opening up the bar for everybody and all that stuff. But I think it was winning the Essence Award. I think we were the first company to win the Essence Award, as well as yeah. So, and I remember that day
I
I
was
was
hoping
winning.
you said that
Really, I
because I
remember.
remember all the Cancun stuff, but we do
Yeah,
that. But
yeah,
Essence, that was huge.
yeah. When that was the first time I got to see. I mean, Prince was sitting right there, and I remember walking past him saying, "Yo, man, I made both my babies to your music," and he looked at me like, "Oh, okay, homie." And then we getting up there on stage, and it was being acknowledged by our own. And it was just I think that was just an amazing time in history for us. And because Essence and Susan Taylor is so elegant as well. Don't get me
And that's
wrong.
when Susan was still there too.
Yeah, that's when Susan was still there. So yeah, absolutely. I think that was probably the height of one of the heights of the FUBU time. And then the fact that I had always I dreamed when I was a kid that maybe one day I'd be in the arena because the whole world was supposed to end New Year's Eve 2000. Remember, killer
Yeah,
bees were coming from Africa, or something was
yeah,
happening, right?
yeah,
Or the
yeah.
clocks are gonna go back. And I always
Right.
imagined that I would be, if I had $5 or 5,000, I'd be somewhere in the arena when Prince sang 1999.
Woo!
And I always hoped on that since '86. And then when I forgot in October or something, not knowing how television production works, they were
Right.
like, "Yo, Prince throwing a party in Minneapolis. You want to go?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll go." But I didn't realize they were filming, what would be aired for
New Year.
1999 New Year's
Right.
Eve.
Right.
And right when he sang that song, I'm standing on stage with him, embarrassing myself, playing the air guitar like this. You know what I'm saying? Playing myself. But it just happened. It just happened like that. And that's my most memorable time personally.
Yo, Prince is my father in my mind, bro. Like
Yeah,
I
man.
never ever had the pleasure, bro. So that must be all
Yeah,
time for you.
it
Yeah.
is. It is. Yeah.
So I want people to hear this number, because a lot of time, we as entrepreneurs sometimes we overlook the real success of this brand that you started in really '89, right?
Yeah.
You sold $6 billion globally. You had $6 billion in sales over this span of time. And what was that like?
You know, it is an absolutely amazing achievement. The way they come up with the number of 6 billion is when they say we sold at wholesale about 3 billion, and they double it. That's that because it's retail sale. They basically say that's
Right,
the real number.
right.
Um, but to be very honest and humble, I wish I had the vision to have it go longer like I would have liked it to. However, I'm still very grateful and humbled for the amount. And in the clothing business, that's a great number. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
It's one
I
of the,
love it.
but it's one of those things in any of our career or as a parent or anything. You just go, what could I have done better if I got to this level and knowing what I know now? What could I have done better? But still, no matter what, it's an honor that I even got to that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you were able to do passion projects. I remember you and I
Yeah.
linked up, and we did a
Yeah.
Lil Jon record with, with your artists, and I mean, you had fun. You had a whole
Oh
lot
yeah.
of fun,
Oh,
and mind you, Daymond John, you are in the National Museum of African American History and Culture.
yeah.
That's insane,
No.
bro.
No, it is. I mean, all of it's a blessing. I mean, we were told that we weren't supposed to be alive, or we were supposed to be either dead or in jail by the age of 21. And so many of our friends have believed that. And as we look at today, we look at all the what's going on in the environment. A lot of people are starting to realize. I don't even know how black men still are. They're not just all in museums saying this used to be somebody who existed in this country because of the systematic ways of mass incarceration and murdering us, right? So to be there in a wax figure and be here in life with you, you
Yeah,
know.
it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and I'm proud of you, man. Like I
No,
think
thank you,
about
brother.
that African American Museum thing, man. It's like you work hard, you get, you amass some success, but then you think about legacy, right? Like what's going to be left behind. You're in a fucking Smithsonian museum, and you will
Yeah.
be there for the rest of eternity as long as it's standing upright. So congratulations on that.
I actually never thought of it like that. Until you just put it like that. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
great 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 grandkids will be able to go see their great 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 grandfather. But
Hey,
Shark
Georgia,
Tank.
when you guys do me a favor, there's a battery charger right here. I don't want to get off camera. This is about to die. Can you just pass it to me really quick?
Shark
Okay.
Tank, man.
It's right over
You
there.
amassed this. Can you hear me?
I'm listening. I'm listening to you.
Oh,
I just want to make sure that we don't die on this feed. I'm listening. Go
yeah,
ahead,
because
brother.
we about to get into the Shark Tank era, and I know everybody wants to hear this. But 2009, Mark Burnett, a very very successful producer, Survivor, and a whole bunch of mega shows on television, comes to you and says he's putting together Shark Tank. What did you think immediately when you got that call?
I thought that and hold on, D. I'm gonna just pull up this charger in here, and I'm going off my headset because I won't be able to hear you. Okay, cool. So when he called, first of all, I didn't believe it was Mark Burnett. He left a message. That was back in the days when your office phone, and I didn't really check the office phone because half of it was people telling me how they can help me make money now that I had money, and
Right.
wanted, you all the stockbrokers and all that other shit, right? So anyway, but you know what? I said let me check it out. I call him, and then he not him, but his executive producers. They tell me about the show, and then they say, well, I'm gonna have to spend my own money, and then Mark Cuban is gonna be on there, and I'm like, yo, these cats in Hollywood are real pimps. I'm supposed to get paid to be. I got to spend my own money, and Mark Cuban ain't gonna be on no show. He got more money than God,
Right.
and every day. I'm like, they full of shit. I said, but you know what? I'll come out there and I'll do the pilot because it wasn't picked up yet. You do the pilot. I'll
Right.
do the if I can get a breakfast with Mark Burnett because I got 3 hot show ideas. I know he's gonna love right away. I go out there, I do the pilot. I go to breakfast with him. I tell him the ideas. Before the orange juice gets to the table, he turns all of them down. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Then all of a sudden the show starts to get picked up. And they're like, all right, well, here's a contract. You can't do any of the show but ours. And I was like, well, I'm managing product placement. I'm going to be on 3 shows. And I'm kind of co-managing what they put in their shows. These 3 girls who are coming to New York, they're going to open up a store called Daymond in New York. And I'm going to be on the show 3 separate times. They're mentors. It's a cable show coming out. They say, you can't be on any other show but ours. I said, all right. Well, they
Right.
passed. Now the girls, obviously, or the Kardashians. And then Chloe found out I was going to turn down the show because of her, because of Shark Tank, and she fired me. And
Wow.
so
So that's how you wait. I'm sorry. I'm confused. You just said how you're not on Shark Tank. I'm confused. What just happened? Can you hear me? Dame, can you hear me?
can you hear me? You can hear me? All right, hold on.
I can hear you now.
All right, hold on. There's a little juice in here now. You got me? You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
All
Got
right,
you.
so I was managing the Kardashians in regards to their product placement in their show, and they will open up a store in New York called Dash, and I was going to be on their show 3 separate times, and I told ABC
Right.
that, and Mark Burnett the show, but ours, and I said, well, I got to pass because I gave them my word.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Did you get it? You get it all? Because I know this is going in and out. Are you getting me?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Okay, so that's what happened. That's why you see a lot of Coogee on the first 3 seasons of them, because I was representing them in regards to product integration, but I couldn't get anybody else to give me money to put product in their shows.
Wow. Do you think in hindsight you could have made more money with the Kardashians than Shark Tank looking back?
I don't know. There's a lot of I don't know, but
Come on, Damon, tell me.
I don't know, because
Tell
in
me.
Hollywood there's a lot of volatility, right? You don't know what could have came, what could have went, but I'd rather always be in videos after I showed her how to do that, and she did it 10,000 times better with social media. So
Right.
I don't know, you know what I mean? And I wish, and I love those girls, and I love Chris, and I love what they do because they know how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a very honest answer. I never look back hindsight 2020 myself. I just thought I'd ask the fucking question anyway. You never know.
A bunch of people saying they can't hear me. A bunch of people saying they can't hear me. The reception's
Yeah, I
going in
mean,
and out, right?
yeah, no, it's good on my side, and if they can't hear you, then if I can hear you on my side, that means when it comes out on my page, it'll be clear if they want to come back. For you to repeat all that, I don't, I heard it all. So let me ask you this: Shark Tank. It's it. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Great. I hate when the fucking thing does this shit. I'm gonna be on TV very soon, Damon. So you're gonna be doing this again live on television with your
No
boy.
problem. We'll do for whoever missed the
But you,
story. We're gonna post this, and then we'll also do it again.
yeah. So the investments you make on the season, on the Shark Tank, right? What has been the most? I personally, the Bubba's Barbecue. You guys did a big partnership with Carl's Jr., right? What was the biggest one you've done? Oh man.
Lori, just tell them, remind them that they're underachievers.
Buy one, give one to someone in need.
That's right. That's right.
That was the biggest
That's the biggest one in Shark Tank history.
ever.
Period.
Wow.
Done in 12 years.
And you're still in that business, clearly.
Still in the business, clearly. Hopefully, changing lives for the better. The business is doing well, especially now.
Absolutely. So I want to run down your 4 books really quickly, and I want you to tell me something about each one. Displaying Your Power.
Display of Power is a story about my life coming up and how we all have the same power under each one of our engines, but some decide to tap into it and some decide not to and run idle. And I laid that book out on what I went through, and then so if people wanted to read my other books, they at least knew my true beliefs and what I believe in.
Awesome. The Brand Within, which I really liked.
Yeah, the brand within your brand. Personally, can you put yourself in 2 to 5 words? Because if you don't know what you stand for, then you walk into the room and you make us have to interpret it. Everybody is judged within 30 seconds of seeing them, or exonerated within 30 seconds of seeing them. So what are your 2 to 5 words? Apple think different, Nike just do it, Fubu for us, buy us, White Castle is what you crave. And today that's more important than ever before, because we're not even talking to you before we see you. We're looking you up on social media, and we're thinking about your 2 to 5 words right there.
Okay. Rise and Grind.
Rise and grind. We both got the same 24 hours in a day. Why are you more successful than me, or I'm more successful than that person with the same exact 24 hours? It's the only thing we can never get back is those 24 hours, and how are you maximizing them? And its methods depend on where you are in life, whether you're 20 or 70, how different people are using those times. So I study everybody from Joel Osteen to everybody else. You can take tips from each one of those and apply it to yourself.
I love it. Daymond John, man, I love you in real life. I'm not going to let this choppy Wi-Fi destroy this amazing information. But We will do this again soon. And I just want you to know, man, you have been a consistent voice in culture, not even just for culture itself. And I mean, you know, not for me personally, which you have been, but for culture itself. And I salute you, brother, man. And, you know, what you're doing on the business side shows you what you really were meant to do. Because when you started this game called life, started in business in this game called life, you chose to work your ass off to get where you are. So please, ladies and gentlemen, when this man speaks, listen. He has vital and vibrant information for you. So thank you very much for joining us on the Kenny Burns
Thank you,
Show.
KB. And next time, I'm gonna make sure I'm in a better area. You see everybody working around me. They're trying to run the Wi-Fi now because I'm just, you know, sequestered up in my property, and I got a lot of property out here, and I'm just trying to get this to it so I can not be with the baby on top of me over here. So next time we'll do it right.
It's all love. I love you, boy. Keep going.
Love you too, brother. Thank you.
All right, peace. Yo, I'm sorry about that, y'all. I didn't want to keep going and you guys were missing gems. I apologize. I'm going to post it live now. I'm not live. I'm going to post it, the live, to my page now and see if you guys can go back and run through for those questions you had. Tomorrow, another playlist. Oh, I have an announcement. I am, and thank you to Truly. I don't know if you guys have tried it yet, but it's they're amazing partners. I appreciate it. But I have an app coming. I'm doing a 24 hours a day radio station. And I'm compiling all the music that I'm putting on this app on this station. I'm sorry, through the playlists that I've made for you guys. So if you really love my playlist, I'm adding another one tomorrow, tribute to the Rockefeller Records movement. But if you love my playlist, you're going to love this app. Not only can you hear the Kenny Burns Show audio, you can watch the video, you can listen to music all day, every day. You can be at work and put the player on from my website. You can listen to it from your phone. It's going to be amazing. So in about 2 weeks, I'll be launching that. So many incredible things are happening for me, and it's because you guys have evangelized and, you know, talked about the show, and obviously love the way that I frame culture and put these artists, you know, on the pedestals they deserve to be on, because we have so many amazing superheroes out here, y'all. And we're going to keep finding out more about them right here on the Kenny Burns Show. But thank you very much. Stay tuned. Look out for this playlist tomorrow, and be safe this weekend, y'all. Corona's running rampant. You know, talking about sequester yourself with your family, have some good food, some libations, and yeah, enjoy. Be safe. Peace.